My grandmother, Hattie Mae, used to sit me on her porch in Mississippi. The air would be thick with the smell of honeysuckle and the sound of cicadas buzzing. She would tell me stories about our family, our strength, and our survival. One story she told me was a whisper. It was a secret history, she said, a story about a great lady meant for a harbor far from our home. She told me about the first Statue of Liberty, the one that was supposed to look like us. This story isn't just a piece of history for me. It is a part of my own story. It connects me to the hopes and dreams of my ancestors. This story matters more than ever today. We live in a world where so many truths have been buried. We are taught a history that is often incomplete. But the truth always finds its way to the light. Learning about the original plan for Lady Liberty feels like finding a missing piece of my own heart. It's a reminder that our contributions, our freedom, and our image were once central to the idea of America's liberty. It's a story of what was and what could have been, and understanding it helps us see the world and ourselves more clearly. Imagine hearing this for the first time. A statue celebrating freedom designed to honor the end of slavery was meant to be a Black woman. It changes everything you thought you knew. It's a powerful truth. A truth that speaks to the resilience of Black people in America. It tells us that our fight for freedom was so monumental, so globally significant, that it inspired one of the most famous symbols in the entire world. This isn't just Black history. This is American history. This is world history. And it's time for all of us to know it. Sharing this story feels like I am honoring my grandmother. I am honoring all the grandmothers and grandfathers who held on to these truths. They kept the flame of our history alive in their hearts, even when the world tried to put it out. They passed it down in quiet moments, on back porches, and in hushed tones. They knew that one day we would be ready to hear it. They knew we would be ready to share it with the world. And now, that time has come. We are ready. The world is ready. Let's paint a picture of her, the original Lady Liberty. Close your eyes and see her. She wasn't the stoic European figure we know today. The first model, the one conceived by the French sculptor Frédéric Auguste Bartholdi, was different. She was a Black woman. Her skin was the color of rich earth. Her face held the story of a people who had endured the unimaginable. In one hand, she held a torch, a beacon of light and progress. But in her other hand, she held broken chains. Those chains were not just a symbol, they were a testament. They were a declaration. She was meant to stand in that harbor as a monument to the end of slavery in the United States. She was a gift from France to celebrate the Union victory in the Civil War and the emancipation of 4 million enslaved people. Her official name was to be Liberty Enlightening the World. And for Black Americans, she was more than a statue. She was a promise. She was a reflection of their own newfound hard-won freedom. She was a sign that the world saw them, that their struggle, their pain, and their ultimate liberation mattered on a global stage. Think about what that would have meant. For every ship that sailed into New York Harbor, the first glimpse of America would have been a powerful Black woman, a woman representing freedom. It would have sent a message to the entire world, a message that America's liberty was fundamentally tied to the liberty of its Black citizens. For every little Black girl and boy, she would have been a source of immense pride, a towering figure that looked like them, standing for the highest ideal of the nation. She would have been our North Star. Her presence would have changed the American story. It would have been impossible to ignore the central role of slavery and emancipation in the nation's identity. She would have been a constant daily reminder of a debt paid and a promise made. Every time you looked at her, you would see the story of resilience. You would see the strength it took to break those chains. She wasn't just a symbol of freedom in the abstract. She was a symbol of a specific, incredible human victory over bondage. She was our victory. So what happened? Why don't we see this powerful Black woman in the harbor today? The story, like so much of our history, is complicated by money and politics. Bartholdi needed support from the United States to build the pedestal for his grand statue. He came to America to raise funds, but the America he found was not quite ready for his vision. The joy of emancipation had faded. The difficult, painful era of Reconstruction was ending. The country was stepping back from its promises of equality. A new, dark chapter of Jim Crow was beginning. The idea of a monumental black woman as the face of American liberty became a difficult sell. It was too bold. It was too truthful for a nation that was actively working to push black people back into the shadows. The broken chains were seen as too direct, too controversial. They pointed to a wound that America was trying to cover up rather than heal. So, the design changed. The features softened and became more European. The broken chains at her feet were still there, but they were subtle, almost hidden by her long robes. This change wasn't just an artistic choice, it was an erasure. It was a deliberate act of forgetting. By transforming the statue, they transformed the meaning. She was no longer a specific celebration of the end of slavery. She became a more general, more abstract symbol of liberty. It was a safer, less challenging message for the time. But in making it safer, they stripped it of its most powerful truth. They took away the story of the people whose freedom she was meant to represent. And in doing so, they denied Black Americans their rightful place at the center of that story. This loss was profound. It was a silent message to Black Americans that their freedom was not the freedom the nation wanted to celebrate. It was a visual representation of how our history was being rewritten. The hope that the statue first inspired was replaced with a quiet sense of disappointment, a feeling of being unseen. Again, we were given a symbol that was supposed to be for us, but it was reshaped until we could no longer see ourselves in it. The dream of Our Lady Liberty was lost, buried under layers of bronze in a more convenient history. For generations, this story lived on only in whispers. It was a piece of oral history, passed down within Black families and by dedicated historians who refused to let it die. But now, we are in a season of truth-telling. We are pulling back the curtain on the stories that were hidden from us. Reclaiming the history of the Black Statue of Liberty is an act of power. It's about saying we were there. Our story matters. Our freedom is central to the American dream. It's about finding our reflection in a place where it was intentionally removed. Knowing this truth fills me with a deep sense of validation. It doesn't change the statue that stands in the harbor today, but it changes how I see it. It changes how I understand my own country. It reminds me that our hope has always been a radical act. The hope of my ancestors was so strong that it inspired a vision of a Black woman lighting up the world. And even when that vision was altered, the truth of it remained. The spirit of that original statue lives on in the resilience and strength of Black people everywhere. This is why we must continue to dig for our stories. We must listen to the whispers of our elders. We must celebrate the historians who do the work of uncovering what was buried. Every story we reclaim is a light we shine into the darkness. It heals a part of us we didn't even know was wounded. It gives our children a fuller, richer understanding of who they are and where they come from. It gives them heroes and symbols that look like them, that were meant for them. It gives them a truth they can stand on. Let this story be a call to action for all of us. Let's commit to learning, to sharing, and to honoring the whole, complete story of our past. True freedom isn't just about breaking chains, it's about having the power to tell your own story in your own voice. The original Lady Liberty was a dream deferred, but she was never a dream destroyed. Her spirit is a part of our legacy, and by sharing her story, we are finally, truly letting her light enlighten the world. And that right there is the most powerful thing of all.